And welcome back. We are at part two of the current, now 2 week old uh, section of new comics, bitches! So let's just roll right along. I'd really like to know if anybody else out there reads Batman Beyond, because this is a really good book. Um, it really amps up from the TV series, and this particular issue is a really great is a really great reminder of how this series in particular can, while starting off as, basically, kind of a children's program, is still really powerful and really strong and almost, definitely more adult oriented. Um, Basically, this is, because we know about, if you look back in time, there was the Legends of the Dark Knight series, which was basically tales of Batman that weren't current. They didn't exist in the regular, in the current Batman continuity. Of course, no other, issue of anything seems to be in anybody's continuity anymore. But this is basically Legends of the Dark Knight offshoot in this particular issue, where it's the tale of the character known as Ink, which is basically a woman who can change. She becomes like ink. She's basically like the T-1000 in Terminator 2, except she's an inky color, and she's a lot more movable, I guess is the best word that I can say. It's a lot faster. And this is basically her origin, and it's really ugly, in the sense that who she is and how she came to be is really awful. The it's just it's hard to put. I mean, I want to put it more clearly, but it's just, this is a really powerful issue. This is great. This is probably my favorite issue of this that I've read, because it's very character driven, and to learn about the really haunting past of Ink, it gives her character in the comic and in the cartoon so much more dimension than just being this kind of T-1000-esque bad guy or bad girl in her case. It's really good stuff. The Adam Beechin writes the hell out of this comic. Even if he's creating kind of an alternate, a future universe, he's creating it with a lot of panache, a lot of style, and I do wish that Dustin Nguyen did the cover art for this, as well as did the interior art for this as well as the cover art. But you can't always get what you want. This is a really, really good issue of a really good comic. Another really good issue of a really good comic, Moon Knight #4. Again, this is Bendis and Malieve taking on the tale of Moon Knight. He of the superhero of the multiple personalities, who is who's maybe not quite as crazy as everybody makes him out to be, but he's definitely got quite a few screws loose. And him, in this particular issue, there seems to be, kind of an attraction that exists between Mark and Maya and Echo, and they turn out to work pretty well together as a team. And the moments where Spectre is having these little talks with Spidey and Wolverine and Cap, it's kind of cool. I do like that, and I like the character of Echo. I like the fact that Bendis brought her back to this particular comic so that he has more control over her, as opposed to just being someone who would sporadically appear maybe in stuff that he's not writing. It's just, and you have this this group that that wants to take them down. Basically, they work for the kingpin of Los Angeles, who we do not know yet. They want the Ultron head back. So Mark Mark and Echo, Mark and Echo take him on, and it almost seems like they're going to win the day for a few moments, but things might go south pretty fast here. So, more than anything, out of this book, I'm liking Bendis's take that he's basically that Spectre has replaced all of these alternate selves. Basically all of the the kind of multiple personalities that he had before. With being Stephen Grant and Jake Lockley and everything like that, and instead of and replacing them with actual superheroes, and they all speak in his head, and they're all instructive and clever, and the fact that he's co-opted that for this book, for his own character, is just really strong, and I really like the potential for the some kind of relationship between Moon Knight and Echo. So that to me is just really cool. I like I said, I've always liked the character of Echo, and I'm glad that she's here. Batman Gates of Gotham #4. A little disappointing, not from the storytelling standpoint. The storytelling is still very strong. The art, which is done by both it's Dustin Nguyen, who normally does a pretty awesome job artistically. It seems really fast and slapped together. But Snyder and Higgins are joining together to make a really strong story here, and a really strong mystery. I don't know if this is going to be the book that kind of pushes Dick to be to go back to being Nightwing, because as we know, the Batman universe continuity is continuing with the DC new or DC new universe, the DC renumbering, whatever you want to call it. So and we know that there's going to be a Nightwing comic. We know that Dick is going to be Nightwing, but we also know that Barbara Gordon is going to be Batgirl again. We're not really sure how that happens yet, but I aim to find out, because that one's going to be written by Gail Simone, and so I'm sure it's going to be awesome. But like I said, I mean, this is just it's a strong tale of of the past meeting the present, and the sins of the fathers of Gotham, if you will, are being visited now upon its favored sons. I'm hoping that in the final issue we'll have not just a confrontation between Dick and the Architect, but I'm hoping that Bruce will step in at some point, because he's his family is involved here, and he's not present. I mean, the only member of the family that's actually present is Damian, as far as bloodlines are concerned. So all in all, Gates of Gotham still a really strong book. Just artistically, it was a mess. I just didn't like the art in this at all. Because I mean, the third issue of this just came out a couple weeks ago, so I think that they're in a hurry to really get this all out before the end of August. So, okay, and we are now going to have to talk about Ultimate Fallout issue #4. So this was the big issue. Okay, now I've already covered the rhetoric around this issue. Now I'm actually going to cover the issue in and of itself. The fact that that we don't even know that this new Spider-Man's name is Miles Morales in this particular issue, and whether we will or not until either the 6th issue or the 1st issue of Ultimate Comics Spider-Man. Remains to be seen. But it starts off with the first story being about this new Spider-Man and him, trying to stop crime. And everybody, of course, it's Bendis writing it, and everybody, as Spidey, goes, on his little kind of, 7 or 8 page adventure throughout this comic, even when he's getting knocked around or doing the right thing, everybody's saying, hey, man, that costume is in really bad taste. And at the end, of course, when he pulls off his mask to reveal, that he is this, half black, half Hispanic, boy, that he says, well, maybe the costume is in bad taste. Which is why we're going to see a different costume on him sooner or later. Then we get a story which is the aftermath of Ultimate Doom, which is where basically we had Reed Richards. I thought he died, honestly, at the end of Ultimate Doom. But no, he's still alive. He's in the negative zone. And he just basically kind of finds his way to a place where he can go home and continue trying to see, trying to make the world a better place. I mean, this is what I like so much about the Ultimate Fantastic Fours and the Ultimate Reed Richards, is that he is like this combination of Reed and Von Doom. He's the darkest side of what the 616's universe Reed Richards could be. He's taking his genius too far, and how that corrupts him. So I mean that, in essence, now that one's written by Jonathan Hickman, so it's really strong. Of course, it has a lot of more high concept ideas, and as far as high concept, see, I can buy a lot of the stuff that Jonathan Hickman does, but Warren Ellis, who also does a lot of high concept stuff, I don't like it. I don't know why that is. That's really weird to me. Why the two of them, I can't get, I can't wrap my head around that, because they seem similar as far as the ideas that they want to present. They want to present to your kind of average, ordinary comic book reader. But it just doesn't work with Warren Ellis, but with Jonathan Hickman, it does. Maybe he's just more accessible. I don't know. But that's something for another time. And then we have our third story, which is written by Nick Spencer, which is about Amanda Cooper, the special advisor to the president on superhuman and mutant affairs. And she's meeting with a journalist, and it's there's a lot of talk about mutants and so on and so forth, and that's possibly this journalist has dug up something that, for those of you who read Ultimate Origins, which was basically the tale of what were kind of the origins of the Ultimate Universe, you do learn, and what this is, that and what they have to prepare for now is retaliation by the mutant community, because the United States government is responsible for the creation of mutants. That's actually who they did, because if you went back to Ultimate Origins, you'll see that, or Ultimate Origin, I can't remember exactly if it had the S on the end or not, that yes, they created mutants through a lot of very awful experimentation. So that was the most interesting, I think the best of these stories. Obviously the most talked about will be the Spider-Man story, but I'm really interested to see how that final story plays out in the future Ultimate comics that are going to be coming out. So that's it for right now. We'll wrap it up with the next segment for the 2 week ago segment, okay? So Stay here. Stay seated.